Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are in day 5 of our National Guard series. I'm Holly Vega, and our special guest today is Miss Shelia Brookins. I love her so much. Can I say it like that? Because that's what you would do it. Was your
You
yeah, with
can.
all your sassiness, and we are going to continue talking about. She's going to basically introduce herself and tell us how fabulous she is, because most of us know, but not everyone. She's also going to talk about a fun fact, maybe something we don't know, and then give us resources, because Shayla's heart is where my heart lies. And so I can't wait for her to share that, because the last kind of step to this week is volunteerism and how to give back to our community. And then she might mention something that she feels that maybe the community is lacking, and we want to announce that because we want people to watch this to see that there are things that are good and there's some things that we need to improve, and together we can improve those. We are wearing our blue in honor of our National Guard spouse, Kate, who unfortunately passed away during the recent shootings. And we did this morning a prayer for her. And across the board, you will see everybody, our military spouse community, pulling together wearing blue and in honor of her. So handing over the mic on over to you, Miss Shelia. Tell me everything.
So my cool fact is that a lot of people don't realize that since the National Guard was founded in 1636, that they have been a part and fought in every war since 1636. And people see the military and assume, especially with Army and National Guard, that everybody is active Army when they see them. But that's not the case. So National Guard has participated in every war, and not all branches can say that. They don't realize that for National Guard, our soldiers actually swear to 2 constitutions when they're sworn in. Most service members swear to one, which is the federal. But for National Guard, they swear into uphold the standards of the federal government and their state government. And
I
so
did
that's
not
kind of,
know that. Mm-mm.
yeah, so for them, because a lot of people assume when they see, as I said, with Army, they always assume that it is active Army. But most of the time, when you see those stateside situations like hurricanes, tornadoes, riots, different things like that, those are actually National Guard service members that answer the call to those different events. So people just see the uniform and assume that's active Army, but that's not the case. The National Guard actually answers the call to a lot of those stateside events.
Well, thank you. That's a really cool fact. I definitely did not know that this morning, and that's a good fact. Let me tell you. So tell us who you are, where you located.
So I live in Kentucky. I am the 2018 Armed Forces Insurance National Guard Spouse of the Year. I currently reside in Kentucky, but I'm actually from Arkansas. So I have a love of 2 states. I have a tribe. So we have a pretty large family. We have a 32-year-old son, Gary, his fiancee, Nicole, and they have a son, Clay. And I'd like to say that Clay was actually the recipient of a new heart. He received
I
his very
know.
back August of 2018, and he is actually almost at a full year successful with that. So that's like a blessing. So I am truly,
It is a blessing. It's a
it
blessing,
is.
and it's one of the reasons why that one of the many reasons, but one that I gravitated towards you from the beginning
Yeah,
of Life 21, because I saw that and I'm like, I have to know her. I have to be part of
it's
that.
pretty, it's
His
pretty
journey,
awesome.
and your
Yes.
family's journey.
We have Adriana, my daughter Adriana, her husband Devin, and they actually have a little Adriana. And then she recently had a son, May 5th. We call him I call him Prince Deshaun. So we have a new addition to the family. We have Diamond, that's 28. We have Kevin, 24. Kevin is 28. We have a 21-year-old, and then DJ, he's the last one. He's 18. So we have a pretty big tribe. We raised 2 of my sisters, and then we also did foster parenting. So foster parenting is another passion of mine that I'd like to come back sometime and talk about. That's not the subject
Oh,
today.
definitely. I will
So,
have you on many times if you want to. Now
but
that we figured out how to do Be Live together, we
most
can
definitely, we're good now. We're good. We're good. But we are a big tribe, and we accept anybody. You don't actually have to be of our blood for it to be in Team Brookins. Everybody that loves us is a part of Team Brookins. I can't leave my husband out. So my husband is Daryl Brookins. He started out with the reserve. So he was with reserve for 4 years, but the last 14 years he spent with the Kentucky Army National Guard. He was a senior human resource NCO, which is non-commissioned officer, for the past 8 years. But October, he joined the EEO with the Joint Force Headquarters, which is Equal Opportunity. He only stayed there a little while. As of Monday, he became the HRO, which is Human Resource Officer for the Joint Force Headquarters. And so now he actually serves as the HRO, and he's also the first sergeant with the 133rd MPAT, which is the Military Public Affairs Division. So really, he is the prize, because without him, I am not a military spouse. So I have to give all credit to him for God putting us together, because of that. That's the only reason why I'm here, is because of who he is. So I have to give him his props. So First Sergeant Daryl Brookins is the bomb.
I like it. My husband is a big fan of your husband, so there you go.
Yes, most definitely.
I look forward to a year of excitement with both of them together. With the control on.
Great time.
Yeah. And so tell us now about because I know volunteering is your passion.
Yes.
And the things that we've talked about this week are some things that are going on in the community, maybe other spouses are not aware of. So I know that you created something recently.
For Louisville, that we are hosting the 2019 Paralyzed Veterans of America's games this year. So if there's anybody in any part of Kentucky that wants to be a part of something amazing, please contact me, because that will be held here in July. I think it's the second week in July. But anybody that wants to be a part of those, they're going to need hundreds of volunteers, because they're going to have different, they have everything from swim to basketball. They have a lot of different events that they have. So they're going to need a lot of strong individuals to help with those. So if anybody's interested in volunteering with that, please contact me. That is like one of the big things that's going on in the Kentucky area this year, is that 2019 Paralyzed Veterans of America event. There are smaller events, and like I said, mine is find a need, fill a need. So if you're out there looking to do something and volunteer with something, I guarantee the military is not the only organization that I volunteer with. If we look in our community, people don't volunteer like they used to. You used to could find a grandma at the elementary school or at the, different places like that, hugging on kids. And it was always that one individual that you'd see, out at the parks and different things. And people don't do that anymore. So that's one of the things that I want to try to get people back to, is just giving back. I think our kids would be I think they have a lot more moral compass if they learned what it meant to give back to their community. So that's one of the things that I like showing my kids, and anybody I can, is how to give back, how to volunteer. So that's we have a lot of things going on in Kentucky. So anybody that's looking, and one of the things I'm trying to do is trying to create a program where people can volunteer anywhere. You can tell me what you want to do, and I can try to find somewhere, whether it's in another city or state, something that will be able to connect you with something that you can, because there are some people out there that like to volunteer, but they just don't know where to go. So I want to try to help those.
There's not a database. And I know that I personally get messages all the time. Hey, Holly, my child needs hours, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Where? And then you start shooting over those links, right? Boom.
Right.
This is in their areas. So that's a great thing, Sheila, because we don't have it. It's not there. Yeah. And that would be a wonderful resource to be able to just plug in one site that has everything and states. I would like to help you with that, ma'am.
All right, great. So my job, in my profession, I work as a family assistance center specialist. So I work as a FAC, and what we do is we help our service members and families, because they're so geographically dispersed. We help them find the resources that are in their area to help them at the lowest level possible. So in that capacity, I have a database full of different resources that are available to individuals. But a lot of times with National Guard, we have to look within the community for those resources, because we don't qualify for those resources that are given to like active duty components. So a lot of my resources are not really military affiliated. They're mostly civilian affiliated, that anybody can take advantage of. And I'm sure you know that in those capacities, those funds and those resources, they get depleted really quickly. So that leaves our National Guard family where they don't have anything to participate with.
I know. And I just did not realize that I would figure that they were within a base, because like for us, for the Marine Corps, like Quantico geographically goes all the way up to like Maryland area down to like Richland. That is where they provide services.
Oh, okay.
Within services. So a lot of people think, oh, the base is just for here. Actually, you should always look at that base and ask, where do you provide services? What is your radius?
Right.
Where are you providing? Because then that's what your organizations who operate on a base should be providing and helping when you're a non-federal entity. You need to be in compliance with the same thing at the base. So I would assume that anybody who lived within that radius as a National Guard family would be able to be supported. And I did not know that until we're doing all this, that's not the case.
Right, because you can, like, I live in Kentucky. I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and I have a soldier that actually drills here in Louisville, Kentucky, but he lives in Paducah, Kentucky, or she lives in Paducah, Kentucky, which is hours away. So my Louisville resources would not benefit that service member because they
don't too far away.
Reside. So we have to be crafty with how we help our service members. We have to, you're utilizing a little bit here, a little bit there. You have your American Legions, your VFWs in those areas that, might have resources, but a lot of time it's just going out into community and figuring out, what are those community resources that they might be able to take advantage of.
I love that. So you're going to give me all those links, right?
Yes. So, and really the links that we have, I'm going to give you my number, so that there's anybody in Kentucky or in another state. And sometimes we might have a resource here in Kentucky and it might be available in another state, but maybe by another name or something like that. So anybody that's looking for something and you don't know how to find it, contact me. And if I don't have the answer, I guarantee that I have somebody in my tribe that can help us find the answer. I have a lot of people that I work with that have been, with the military. They've veterans and different things that we're road rages. We're going to find the best way to get our service members and their families taken care of. So contacted me because the database is so large that everything that they need, I wouldn't even want to give you that, but I'm their database. I'm the one they contact to get them in touch. And if it's not in my area, we connect far and wide with different, all over the country with our fact that are different areas. So a lot of people don't even realize they have that capability, because some of our National Guard areas are way out. So they're like in far out areas. So they're not to somebody like me and we have what we call Family Readiness Support Assistants. Those are our FRISAs, and they actually work with our family readiness groups, which are the volunteer groups, and our commanders. And then I work with the unit and the service members. So I kind of call us, we're like Smokey the Bear and the Forest Ranger. So the FRISAs forest fire, and then,
So is that only in Kentucky though? Or do you have, is it called FRESA? Is that what you got? FRESA, is that everywhere?
Every state should have a FRISA, and then every state should have a FAC, and that's for any National Guard base. So if there's because I have had some call me, some of our MSOIs call me and say, hey, I don't know who my person is like you in our area. And all I do is I go to my supervisor and we look it up and try to find it. And maybe just because of how far they're out, they don't know that. So we have a FRISA and a FAC for each state. And then depending on how big the state is, there might be multiples. Like we have 7 of me here. And then like for the FRISAs, we have 4 in the state. So it depends on where you live, but there should be at least one. And if they cannot or do not know who their FAC or FRISA is, then I can definitely help them find them.
That's interesting, because I haven't heard those acronyms. So it's different for each branch. Marine Corps used to be a family readiness officer. And we had key volunteers, and that went away. And in 2008, that system went away. That was us spouses who, created that. And then the pros. And now we don't have pros. Well, I shouldn't say, we have some outstanding pros. They're still there, but they cut it. So it's very limited who actually gets a pro. But they've changed the acronym to Deployment Readiness Coordinator. And so that's mostly what it says. So it's always changing and evolving. And but that's really good to know for y'all.
They do, like we have our, the people that we have, they have sized down on them because of, the funding that. If you really think about it, before 2011, service members act in the National Guard. those
It was the
roles.
same thing for the Marine Corps. It was active duty. They
Yeah,
dual collateral. They dual
right,
collateral
right.
jobs. But
Additional,
then I think because of where we are in wartime and change,
yes,
it's hard for people to understand that. And
yes,
going back to something that was original, but it's
right,
that
right.
change of like, you know, why is it going back?
There,
That was the way it was. Yes, you're right.
one time there was, this one or two individuals that handled a whole state and everybody's issues. So to have any kind of programs that acknowledge that, we do need individuals to
Mm-hmm.
take care of our and stuff like that, that's a blessing in itself to have those different
It is a
organizations.
big blessing, and I'll tell you,
Mhm.
I don't want to monopolize your thing, but we have some great actually that are still hired on froze, and
Yes.
and one of them, her name is Keter, and let me tell you,
Mhm.
Keter rocks. They should really give her a mountain award. I'm gonna have to because she knows that she's just the best. And my best friend was a fro for a long time, and she looked up to her as a mentor. But Keter, I think, is the godmother of all fros for our Marine Corps. I mean, she's like sitting on a pedestal for so many out there. She's pretty amazing. So I always try to give that kudos because fros don't get always, or for you frezzes don't get that appraisal.
Right, right,
Or looked at, and so I commend you because you're
right.
world a source of information. And if you're not,
Right.
you got a box of Kleenex and you're helping a friend.
Listen, and a lot of times in our situation, we're helping individuals and it's
On
confidential.
a personal level. On a personal level, yes.
They
Mm-hmm.
can't acknowledge you. And when I'm in trouble and I need you and I'm finished and when you taking care of me, it's hard to go back and say, hey, thank you. You just don't think about it and you keep moving on.
Right,
So a lot of times it's not on purpose, but they don't get any type of recognition. But
right. But I'm
as
giving it to you, girlfriend. You're doing an
yeah,
amazing job.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And
And I
I'm sure
think one of
today is live. A lot of people are going to want to reach out too because they might, especially our junior spouses who are not aware of that.
yes.
And you're moving and knowing that they actually have that support there. That's really great, especially for it's like to have 7 within the
Sometimes
state. Mhm.
whoever's in your area, a lot of people, we're all different. We all have different
Mhm.
personalities. If you feel like that you're in an area and you're not connecting with your first effect or whatever in your area, don't take this life alone. Reach out to
Right.
somebody else.
Right.
We have a 1-800 number that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that somebody can get in touch with us. Maybe we're not the best person to handle your situation, but don't ever feel like you're alone. There are all kinds of programs out there, to help our service members and their spouses to know that they're not alone. There's always something that we can do to get you taken care of.
Yeah. So one more thing,
Huh?
what is something that you feel that you would like to see changed that there's not there? Because the Blue Star survey is out there. It is going, and our National Guard doesn't get represented that much. And I will, they want you. They want your community to fill out that survey so that your voice is heard. Is there something that you feel that you would love to see a change?
Well, for me, it would have to be way bigger than what we could do. It would have to go DOD. I feel like that there should be, just like the Army has the Army Emergency Relief Fund. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there should be a national, a federal level program where when our service members are in those same needs, the same exact needs that, the active soldiers have, and maybe it's a state issue, but our service members should be
Yeah.
able to go to one location. We shouldn't have to, send them to community resources and, feel around. There should be one place that our service members should be able to go because the community
Yeah.
doesn't. And when you say my drill check was short or my drill check got cut or I was in an accident while I was at drill and now I'm waiting on my, LOD
Mm-hmm.
to come through. Civilians don't understand that and they don't mean any harm, but their programs are not equipped and are not made for those type of circumstances. So I would love to see some type of funding put aside for our National Guard service members to be able to go to one location and get assistance.
That's a really good one, and I don't think that's unrealistic
Well, it's hard
request
to
or
do.
wanting because
Like,
you're right. The Army has theirs.
right.
The Navy and the Marine Corps have the Navy Marine Corps Relief and some
Yes,
other.
yes,
I mean, we do always have. We love the American Red Cross,
yes,
but
yes.
it's still
I think
not
that one
so.
of the issues is
Mhm.
because I actually talked with a gentleman from the Army Emergency Relief is that they are connected to the DOD and they're connected to active duty paychecks. So
So
they
that
they offer 3 different programs. One is a loan, one is a half a loan, and then one is a donation. if they need to get those funds back by that half loan and full loan, they can actually take it out of the soldier's check. Because we're state and not federal, they don't have access to that because a lot of our service members work civilian jobs. So that's where the issue comes in, is that there would be no way to, get those funds back, because
Right.
you have those that mess it up for everybody. So,
But I do believe that this week, something that has been continually said and mentioned is that after 9/11, your world changed. So what was prior to that, and certain things like this,
yes,
was thought of before.
yes,
But
most
now
definitely.
you've never thought about it since after, and you're not operating at the same tempo, the same way. Nothing is viewed as families, nothing since 9/11. So
Because what
something
people
on
don't
that
realize
level of
is that
setting down a committee saying, hey, we're not the same as before. Something does need to change. And I don't think that's something very unrealistic or that cannot possibly happen. Some things, you're fighting against a wall and you just know it really is not going to ever happen. But this is something that that's worth bringing up. And I hope this series brings up that after 9/11, your world completely changed. And
I
with
do.
that, our service and the way DOD operates in it, some things, not all, do need to be reevaluated and brought up and looked at on a higher level.
Say that there's one thing that I know for sure that people don't realize. Since 9/11, the National Guard has had over 780,000 mobilizations since 9/11. That's about 50,000 members of the National Guard that have been called to take on various missions since the 9/11 attacks. That's not saying that the other branches haven't had anything, but that's when you talk about how your life has changed. 780,000 is a lot, and that's not the peak,
Right.
that's the mobilizations that they've had. And so you think about, in times before that, we were nowhere close to that. And so, like you said, those situations where National Guard families were, where they were working their normal jobs, they were doing their 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year, and everything was
Well, it was
okay.
always considered like a weekend warrior. And
Right.
I know y'all don't like that. Please, people, don't
Right.
say it, because National Guard spouses do not like it when they say, because maybe that was before, but that is not
Right.
the
Yes.
now. They are still our warriors, but in a whole different capacity.
And they kind of
so-
misunderstand, don't realize that even if they're not deployed, they still have those trainings. They still have times when they're gone for 2 or 3 weeks or a month at a time. So there are still times, just because they're not overseas. And like I said, they handle those state missions. And if you'll think about it, in the last year or so, we've had
some major
tornadoes, riots, different things like that. So, like I said, those are the situations that that National Guard service members handle. So they are out of the homes at that time. So just because there's not an overseas mission doesn't mean there's not a mission. We have a lot of service members that are medics that go to the different foreign countries, and some of them are engineers that go and help and build.
I know I have to say that especially with the hurricanes and moving to Florida, and then everything that happened to our family in Puerto Rico, it opened my eyes to the Coast Guard, and that's why my love for so many came, because I was when you're not educated about something, get educated, and the best way is our military spouses. We're like an open book of all this knowledge.
Yes,
and so my Coast Guard spouses, and then being at Missouri Week really opened my eyes to y'all, and so I'm blessed for that week. For a few reasons, but mainly for this reason. I have to say that for me, being around y'all really was a blessing. It really, really was, because I listened and I saw y'all, and I saw the things you were talking about, and I'm like, in my heart, I knew I had to do this series to bring awareness that of things that you are troubling to your heart, to your families, and to the community, because ultimately that affects all of us. Because we're all
a lot too. I learned that, there are, for as many differences that there are in the branches, there are more similarities. So, there are things that we all go through that, I would never, Marine thing or Navy thing, but there are so many similarities. And those are things that before Armed Forces Insurance and this program, I didn't even consider. There was not thought that I would have something in common with a Navy spouse or Marine spouse, but now it's like,
we like sisters, girlfriend.
Oh goodness, we're kindred spirits, and me, it's been amazing because I have a lot of times our National Guard spouses will decide to go, or soldiers will decide to go active. And with this program, I have been able to help my family's transition so much better. You know, I had one service member, the soldier moved, she was pregnant, two small kids. And when he got there, he had to go straight to a training. And through this program, I was able to connect her with a new tribe. She moved to California so that when she got there, she had people there supporting her the whole time he was gone in a new city. I don't know that I would have had that much support if not for this program. So it has been an amazing blessing.
Well, and I wouldn't. And I said that even during like our interview, like without ever coming to this joint base. So thank you, Marine Corps. Because I was not happy going to a joint base. I'll be the first time I cried my husband's career. Like, we're going to a joint base. I don't know nobody. Marine Corps sisters and all this, you know,
Right.
Everything I know is that unknown. And we, like I said, we got here and 2 weeks later, bam, we're in a hurricane. It was a very hard time.
Right.
My aunt passed away from a heart attack within that same frame. My mother-in-law had to come live with us 4 months. I was at first time in my husband's career looking, going, I'm so sad. And
Wow.
and then my eyes opened because, you know, you can only be sad for so long or you make a change. And reaching out to our community and saying, like, let's go have a coffee, you know. And then I got embraced by all these different spouses. Many of my spouses in my neighborhood are Army. And so that opened my eyes. Even though I have family that's done different service, you'd never really think about that. They've opened my eyes. So I'm like a ooh-ha and over here with the song. And now I told y'all I was going to find that National Guard song because spouses were saying they didn't know it. And like, you brought it yesterday. Yes, you do have a song. And those things you just never know until you are immersed in the other. And we all think our branch is the best. We all think that.
Go Guard.
You're supposed to. But then you get around your other fellow military spouses and you realize we're all dealing with some of the same issues.
Yes.
You're all advocating sometimes for the same thing.
Yes.
You're all networking and trying on the same mission. And we're all really in this together. And just
one big family.
One big family.
One big military family, no matter what the branch is, when it's all said and done, when they get ready to go do their thing, they do it to the best of their ability and they protect each other. Whether by air, by sea, or by land, they're all there protecting.
And we're greater in number than we are as one.
Yes. I want to also let you know that I still got my red on too.
Okay, for Friday, I know. I'm wearing my blue. I'm being really like, okay.
I couldn't.
I love my red, and I usually wear red almost every Friday. But I always, some things, little people don't know that I always have red on always because I'm a heart advocate, and there is always some form of red on me, even though you might not see it there. It's either a pin or in my earrings. It's something. I always support that. So for your baby, our little warrior, so proud, is doing so well.
Thank you.
And so thank you, Shelia, for coming on today. Blue Star Survey. For Kate today, we are trying with the frame that our beautiful co-C, Stacy, has made. Sarah, again, one of your National Guard spouses, posted a link for the GoFundMe. I think Kate, who is a Navy spouse, posted about the food, the meal tray. They did not create those. They just gathered that information because that's what we do. We gather information and deliver it. And then Michelle today in 30 minutes, her and a bunch of Navy spouses are actually located in Virginia Beach, are getting together to do prayer, silent prayer and all that. And our Army spouse, Megan, did a beautiful prayer at 7 a.m. this morning. So that just proves that we are greater in number.
One big happy family.
One of us are working. So my condolence goes out to Kate's family and her daughter, her husband. But your memory and you are not forgotten.
Most definitely. They are definitely remembered in prayer and in our hearts.
Okay. So please, everybody, wear your blue and spread the love for him, remembering and honoring our beautiful Coast Guard, National Guard spouse, National Guard spouse, Kate Nixon.
Yes.
Thank you, Shelia. And remember that Military Home Base brings you home one base at a time. And I will not be here next week. I will be Tinkerbell here. That's what I call myself. Tinkerbell will be G.I. Jane with my son at the Junior RTC Leadership Camp. So y'all might want to say a little prayer for me because I'm not about alligators and snakes, and they already told us beware of them. And but I will not be doing any lives next week. I will be in the wilderness of state of Florida with 400 other cadets. So the exciting life as a parent, and as my son said, my mama never says no, so ask her to go.
Look, he's being honest. He's just being real. That's how it is. Well, you take care of yourself out there. I love you.
Okay, love you too. Bye. Have a great day,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Sweetheart.